Hello students, in this video you are going to study what is second normal form or 2NF. Before watching this video you need to know what is normalization and what is 1NF. So please watch that video before continuing. So a table is said to be in second normal form if both the following conditions hold. The first condition is the table has to be in first normal form. The second condition is no non-prime attribute is dependent on the proper subset of any candidate key of the table. That is, in other words, there should be no partial dependency. Again, we can alternatively define this second normal form as a relation schema R is in second normal form if every non-prime attribute A in R is fully functionally dependent on the primary key of R. Okay, so what's the meaning of this? Let's understand. So before we see that, let's see the advantages of second normal form. So the advantages are redundant data is reduced more effectively, data is consistent in the database, it improves the flexibility in designing a database. It also improves the overall organization of data in the database, and it helps to improve the security of the database. So let's see how to check for whether relation R is in second normal form. Okay, what is the meaning, and also let's see what is the meaning of partial dependency. So given a relation R having the attributes A, B, C, D, and having the functional dependency A determines B and B determines C. Okay. First, find a candidate key for the relation. Okay. Now I explained how to find a candidate key stepwise in a separate video. So please watch that video if you don't know how to find the candidate key. So for this relation R, the candidate key is AD. And the prime attributes are A and D. Okay. You can check if there are more candidate keys, but there is no more candidate keys. Okay. So therefore, you can conclude that the non-prime attributes are B and C. Okay. Now, to check for partial dependency, you need to check for the following condition. Okay. You need to check whether the proper subset of the candidate key, okay, determines a non-prime attribute. Okay, so what I mean by that is, first of all, find the proper subset of the candidate key. The candidate key is AD, the proper subset is A and D. Now check whether this proper subset, okay, A or D, whether it determines the non-prime attribute. Which are your non-prime attributes? B and C. How to check and where to check? Check in the given functional dependencies. If either of these subsets, the proper subsets of the candidate key, determines the non-prime attribute, then we say there is partial dependency. Okay, and if there is partial dependency, we need to remove it so that the R can be in the relation R can be in second normal form. If there is no partial dependency, then we can directly conclude that R is in second normal form. Okay, so check for this now condition, proper subset of candidate key A or D. Okay, so let's take A. So A, proper subset is A, is here, determines B, which is a non-prime attribute. So there is this condition which exists. Okay, since this condition exists, that is proper subset of candidate key A determines the non-prime attribute B is true, therefore we'll conclude that there is partial dependency. Okay, so since there is partial dependency, we say that it is violating the second normal form. Okay, since it's violating the second normal form, we need to remove now this partial dependency from this relation R. Okay? So to do that, We take the violating functional dependency. Okay, this is the violating functional dependency. A determines B. Okay, take the left hand side of that functional dependency. So we are taking the left hand side, that is A, and we find the attribute closure. Okay, so the attribute closure, we get ABC. Again, how to find attribute closure has been taught in a different video. So if you don't know how to do that, please check that video. Okay, so the attribute closure for A gives ABC. So we put all the above attributes of the attribute closure of A into a new relation R1. Okay, and the remaining attributes of R, which is not there in R1 but are there in R, the remaining attributes are put into R2. So R1 is having all the attributes from the closure of A, so we are getting A, B, C. Okay, and we are having R2 having all the remaining attributes from R. R was having 4 attributes, A, B, C, D. So all these attributes, so there's only one attribute which is left, D. Okay, which is not there in R, which is not there here. Okay, so this one will be put here. So now we are decomposing this relation R into two new relations. Okay, in order to remove the partial dependency. But as you can see, if you want to do any queries on these two relations R, there is no common attribute between R1 and R2. Okay, now we'll see how to find a common attribute between the two relations R1 and R2. Okay, so to do that, we can select a common attribute such that the attribute is a super key either of R1 or R2. So the attribute is a super key either of R1 or R2. Okay, so you need to select one attribute. Okay, and you want to check whether that attribute will be a super key. So suppose we select A as the common attribute. Okay, we are selecting A as the common attribute. So now when you need to check whether A is a super key. So to do that, you can find the A closure. Okay, check if A is a super key by finding the A closure. Okay, so you are finding the A closure. When you find the A closure, okay, now we are finding the A closure, and we find that the attributes of A closure are A, B, and C. So therefore, A, we can conclude, is the super key of R1. Okay, is the super key of R1. So we were supposed to find a common attribute such that it is a super key of either R1 or R2. We took A as a common attribute, okay, just randomly, and we saw that whether A is the super key by finding the A closure. When we found the A closure, we saw that A gives ABC. Okay, so ABC is present here in R1. It has to be a super key of R1 or R2. Okay, please note, I'm not saying R, I'm not saying R, I'm saying R1 or R2. So when I do the A closure, I get ABC, okay, which is same as R1. So therefore A is the super key of R1. So since A is the super key of R1, A can be added as a common attribute to R2. So therefore we get R1 as attributes A, B, C, R2 having the attribute A and D. Okay, A we found out using this process that I just explained. And now we can say that this R1 and R2 are in second normal form. Okay, we have removed the partial dependency. Partial dependency has been removed. Okay, so therefore we can now claim that this is the output of second normal form, or we can say that now R or the R1 and R2 are in second normal form. Okay, just for you to understand. Suppose, take this example. Suppose R is having these four attributes: project ID, student name, project name. Okay. So A is project ID, B is student ID, C is student name, and D is project name. So therefore, based on that previous example, R1 would have been ABC, okay, which is the project ID, and student name, and R2 would have been A and D, project ID and project name. So this is how it would have been decomposed. So basically we are having a foreign key, primary key concept. Okay, that is what is happening. That is how we are trying to reduce the redundancy in the table. Okay, so I hope you understood, and thank you for listening.